We so often talk about Red Paddle Co boards. Well, now's the turn of their paddle lineup. Here it is, the Red Paddle Co paddle range for 2023. Paddles. Often, weirdly, not discussed. The reason why I say weirdly is, well, it's called stand-up paddleboarding. But paddles, we find, particularly for visitors at our shop and when people are considering, particularly an inflatable package, paddles are often never part of the conversation. It's something that we have to start almost to make people aware of the choices and differences of paddles and how they really do affect your experience as a paddleboarder. Ultimately, it's half of the overall experience. Paddles play a critical part and they are effectively what's driving you and allowing you to pull yourself through the water. As a result, a number of brands, Red Paddle Co are a perfect example, give you the opportunity within their packages to actually upgrade the paddle and look at different options. Red Paddle Co as a brand also recognise the fact that paddles are a big part of a package purchase, and in perhaps some of their nichier boards, their paddle's not actually included as standard. So look, let's run you through the Red Paddle Co lineup as we see it within their packages as a whole. And you've got the Red Paddle Co Hybrid Tough. And the Hybrid Tough really is the entry-level paddle within the Red Paddle Co lineup, with boards such as the Ride, the ever-popular 10.6 Ride, 10.8 and the 9.8. It comes as standard within those packages. And the Hybrid Tough really serves a great purpose in that, well, it does exactly as it says on the tin really, it's tough. And it's tough because of the blade. The blade itself is a nylon PU blade, offers an awful lot of durability, delivers a really nice experience. The blade head itself isn't particularly big in terms of its overall surface area, so it works well for a really broad cross-section of paddlers looking to get on the water for the first time. In a family environment particularly, this blade stands up to loads and loads of abuse. So if all of a sudden your paddle goes running down the beach with a little person and they end up digging some sandcastles with it, well, this paddle will take it and it won't be phased in the slightest in that kind of situation. And it's a real world situation. The same also stands if you are paddling along and you kind of hit the bottom of the riverbed or you clip a rock or something along those lines. Again, the paddle will take it in its stride and move on from there. The shaft itself though is a carbon hybrid shaft. When brands talk about hybrid, you find that there's basically carbon as well as fiberglass within the shaft. This paddle itself is no different. What I do like with it though is its overall aesthetic. Red Paddle Co makes some really beautiful kit, quite clean, quite simple, but striking in its overall appearance. A nice feature though as you come up the shaft on the paddle is the clamp at the top. As you open up the clamp at the top, there is a small groove within this adjustable section of the shaft, so that if you are when you are paddling on the fly and you want to be able to adjust the shaft length, then you can do that and not have to worry about the adjustable handle section lining up with the blade. It's a nice little touch that we see from Red and also some other brands. One unique feature that we see from Red Paddle Co in all of their paddles within 2023 and also in 2022 is this kind of nunchuck arrangement, if you like, in the center. So often, Red Paddle Co found that people were putting together their paddles incorrectly, with it being a three-piece setup. They were putting the adjustable section in the wrong end here, for example's sake. It was leading to some issues. To kind of get around that whole issue altogether, Red Paddle Co went to this kind of nunchuck mitten around the back of your coat arrangement to keep the two sections together. So really there can be no confusion on how that paddle goes together. Now, if you do have more room within your budget and you are looking for a better paddle with which to go on and have your paddleboarding journey and progress your skill set, well, you get the opportunity to upgrade at a reduced cost to the Prime paddle. The Prime from Red Paddle Co is slightly lighter. It's around 100 grams lighter than the Hybrid Tough. The Prime itself, it actually uses a forged carbon shaft, much lighter in the hand, But the big difference is the blade. The blade itself is a forged carbon cored composite paddle. When I say cored, that means that simply it has a foam core through the head of the blade. There is a slight dihedral on the back of the blade itself. What that is doing ultimately as you are engaging in your catch of the water, that initial paddle phase stroke, the paddle, as it is pushed into the water, it's then parting the water, which ultimately is stabilizing the blade as it's drawn back through the water as part of the stroke. That stabilizing motion is ultimately reducing what's called feathering. So it's ensuring that you get a slightly more planted feel out of the prime than you do in the hybrid tough. The other big difference though is really the rigidity in terms of the blade. There is little to no flex in the blade on the prime, whereas the hybrid tough is designed to stand up to that wear and tear that comes through family use or simply just you knocking the bed and what have you as you are out paddling in slightly shallower conditions. As a result though, the flip side of that with the prime, this beautiful kind of forged carbon finish and this painted graphics that we have on there, then yes, in terms of a real world environment, this is actually from our demo center here at the SUP company. You'll see very quickly, unless some care is taken, this will start to show wear and tear through use. Hybrid tough, far less. On a prime though, yeah, you will find that kind of picks up. That's kind of the con with this, but there are so many pros for it as well. The other advantage as well with it being a carbon shaft is it's also stiffer. So that whole power transfer isn't just happening from a stiffer blade, it's also happening from a stiffer shaft. What we do have in the top section though is the adjustable groove that's allowing us to basically line everything up as we go up and down in terms of shaft length overall, and it's ensuring that it lines up with the head of the blade. There is a third paddle though that I just want to talk about really quickly that is in the Red Paddle Co lineup, and that is their 5-piece paddle that comes in the compacts. So the compact series, if you're not familiar with those boards, well, they're totally unique within the Red Paddle Co lineup. They're made out of completely different material and technology, what Red refer to as their packed technology. And these boards pack down incredibly small, are very light, but as we've come to experience from all Red Paddle Co products, really represent very little compromise once you are on the water. To ensure that those packages get down as small as possible, well, Red has made the paddle as small as possible. So this paddle here, believe it or not, actually breaks down to within 5 different separate sections. It's still adjustable. It actually uses what's called a lever lock section on the top of the paddle here, which is quite unique in that there's a wire running through this top section here, and when the clamp is closed, it compresses this rubber bungee in the top, which then grips inside the shaft of the paddle up here, allowing you to fix it to the overall length. The other thing I really like about this paddle as well is, well, you can drop a section out of the middle and end up with a smaller paddle for somebody else within your family or group. So all of a sudden you end up with a really nice kiddie paddle. So it drops down quite small. Or if you've got a really petite paddler out there as well that's looking for a compact board, and there are those out there because they are very light packages, so they offer a lot of appeal, you end up with a shorter paddle as well. But the main advantage of this paddle is that it packs down within the board package overall and sits within the Red Paddle Co compact rucksack. So there you have it, the Red Paddle Co paddle lineup. It is a small range of paddles, but it's a complete range of paddles. So regardless of your budget and your price point, really there is something in there for you, something that's gonna work, allow you to progress, and ultimately get on the water and have a fantastic time. Thanks for watching our video. If you've got any questions about what you've seen, why not give us a call in the shop or head over to thesupco.com. To stay up to date though with all of our videos, well, make sure you subscribe up here and hit the notification bell. But to see our next video, well, take a look up here.